Hey folks, Gary here. Boy, I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. It's Friday. You made it. Yeah, it's an awesome day. Hey, we talked about God's love and knowing God's love in the last video we made. And today I'm going to talk about never being alone. Like, have you ever felt like you're all alone? That you got to face everything by yourself? Well, the first advice I give you is this. Get a poodle. You'll never feel alone again because they don't leave you alone. But even better, get to know who Jesus is, and you'll never walk alone ever again. And so today we're looking at Luke 24, and we're going to look at verses 18 to, I think we're going to, actually, might be wrong, 13 to 18. So we're going to look at that and see what it says. This is called the Road to Emmaus. And this is a great story. Actually, you should read the whole story. We're only going to do just a little bit here. You should read that whole story because it's a really powerful message coming from God. So, but looking at 13 today, it says this. That very day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. And they were talking with each other about all the things that had happened. So what has happened? Well, Jesus has been crucified on the cross. He's been buried in a tomb. Now he's been raised from the dead. He's been resurrected and he's alive again, but not everybody's seen him. So there's a whole lot of confusion going on. All these two disciples know is they know that Jesus has been killed. They're not so sure about the resurrection yet, but they know he has died. And so that's what's taken place, right? So they're talking about all the things that have happened. While they were talking and discussing together, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. Jesus shows up. Jesus comes near and he goes with them. But their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What is this conversation that you are holding with each other as you walk?" And they stood still, looking sad. They are broken-hearted by the things that have taken place. What has happened is really incredibly hard on them. And Jesus comes to them in that moment of grief where they're really, really sad. And they answer, one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days?" They're saying, how could you not know this? The worst thing in the world has just taken place. They're in this grief. Now, if you continue reading on the story, you see that Jesus walks with them and he comforts them and he reassures them without them even knowing that it's Jesus doing it. It's not until he's actually breaking bread with them in a room, they see him break the bread, they go, "Wait a second, you're Jesus." And all of a sudden they have this incredible joy and they rush back to the other disciples and the apostles to tell them. The main thing about this story when I read it that I really love is the fact that in their despair, Jesus is there. In our joy, Jesus is around, but when we are suffering and in our despair, he's there as well. Even if we don't recognize it, he is still there. They didn't recognize it was Jesus, but that didn't change the fact that it was, and that he was very present during their time of distress. And during that time, he comforted them and he ministered to them without them even knowing it, that it was him doing it. Here's the thing. You feel like you're alone? Give your life to Christ. Get a puppy. Get a poodle. They're awesome. But give your life to Christ. You give your life to Christ, you will never, ever walk alone.